All right, good evening and welcome to our channel Princess Seat. Today is the 18th of June 2025, and tonight we want to set some records straight. It appears there has been conflicting messages and a lot of gbas in message conflicting has been up air over time, and I think it's high time that we'll bring all of this to a stop. And so some of these records are going to be harnessed and harmonized right now or this evening. Is very sacrosanct for us because one, health is involved, secondly, our future is here. Now the first on setting this record straight is to address this specific point of concern that has generated the most of confusion, and that is the presence of the IMF, the World Bank team that was set to arrive at the country or in the country a couple of days ago. The fact remains that according to the information we got now represents that the IMF team did not arrive in Nigeria as was expected, and then said like they departed in anger and all those things. Those things are not real. They did not enter the country. The fact being that I'm going to piece it down for us to get the understanding. So that impression was not actually correct. That impression is incorrect and is not a representation of the fact as it currently stands. Let us be very clear with this. The IMF, which is the World Bank supervisory team, which has been slated to come and oversee the implementation and transparency framework that is tied to the ongoing grant disbursement, did not show up this week due to a very critical condition not being met by the Nigerian side of the agreement. Now, there was a section that said they came and they landed, but with all information we got, it showed that they did not appear in the country. And the truth of the matter is this: the International Court of Justice, which is the ICJ, acting on concerns that was raised by the IMF or the World Bank supervisory body regarding the lack of decisive and transparent action from Nigeria. They issued a formal 4-day ultimatum to the Nigerian government, and this ultimatum required that certain agreements and frameworks that is pertaining to the disbursement is expected to be signed by duly appointed representatives of the Nigerian government and its corporate agencies before the international engagement could continue. I do hope we understand. I'm going to still piece it down for further assimilation. Now, why this ultimatum was issued is because it is important for all members of this community to understand that the ultimatum is not punitive in nature. It's not a kind of punishment, but rather it's a procedural safeguard. It was necessitated by persistent signs of bureaucratic delays, the conflicting internal signals and administrative indifference that have over time plagued the disbursement journey for too long until now. So those signs have been seen, inconsistent, incoherent signs that have been meted up with the government side of the bargain that is not really comfortable with the IMF body and not suitable for the Nigerian masses. That was why it was important that the ultimatum was issued to the Nigerian government. So the IMF team have shown patience. They have really shown a measure of patience and restraint. They've also shown commitment over the months. They have extended multiple timelines and tolerated inconsistencies in communication from Nigerians' representatives. But the consistent lack of action the consistent lack of finalization or signed documentation, especially in such a high-stake process of this caliber that involves massive amount of money, has finally, in the IMF side, it has finally reached a breaking point for them. Hence, the decision was made by the international bodies to pause any form of physical visit to the country until the required documentation is signed by the appointed signatories and endorsed by both parties that are involved. Namely the Nigerian side and the supervisory arm that is overseeing the fund release and monitoring, which was said that tonight, based on the last message that was released, that some of these delegates are traveling to the US, from tonight. So if we could cast our minds back to the stakeholders meeting that was held at the villa, it was actually a turning point that was actually a decisive factor, and we are pleased to report that progress is already being made when it comes to certain things. They have reached near excellence state, and in line with the demands of the ultimatum. We also remember that during the that stakeholders meeting that was held on Monday night, high-level discussions were conducted that was involving both the government authorities and representatives from relevant platforms who are involved in the humanitarian grant projects. And out of this meeting, there was a clear and decisive resolution that was arrived at. Individuals with full legal and administrative powers were appointed and empowered to sign the relevant documents that is demanded by the International Court of Justice and IMF or the World Bank. Now, that resolution also is marking a very significant step or milestone forward, and we must also reiterate this and affirm our full alignment with the decision which is made by the IMF team. So they are insistent, the IMF insistence on the due diligence, the proper monitoring mechanisms, the clear documentation that was assigned or that was being talked about by them is not just a procedural bureaucracy. It is a necessary step to ensure that funds, once it is disbursed, it's going to reach the correct beneficiaries, and that the distribution process will remain so transparent, accountable, and also legal or lawful. So rest assured, to the community right now, let us reassure ourselves once again that there is no cause for alarm. All of these are just measures being taken to ensure that Nigeria becomes serious. Our government becomes very serious with the minds of the people, with the activities of the people, with the masses, because they have toyed too long with the masses' feelings and emotions, and the International Monetary Fund is not really even comfortable with that. They don't have the mind of the masses at heart, and so they are trying to bring them to the level of compulsion, level of agreement, entering into an agreement that is signed so that they can know that they're on the same page. Yes. So it shows also that in fact, this temporary pause right now and the demand for these signatures is actually a sign of maturity when it comes to international financial dealings, which to me, it shows that the system is working and that the checks and balances are now being implemented for the good of all stakeholders, especially you that is listening to me right now, and the end, you who's actually the end beneficiary. It's all about us in the first place, all about us. It is often said that delay is never denial, and this moment is not different. What we are experiencing right now is not a cancellation or abandonment of the grant process. No, it is a moment of final or coming together or alignment, which is a last mile correction that must happen before this long awaited release is finally effected to us. So we remain so firmly committed to the truth, to clarity, and above all to seeing that this empowerment movement, it comes to full fruition for the benefit of every one of us. Our goal is not just to receive these funds, but to receive them in a way that honors the process, that sustains the institutions that is involved, and also protects the dignity of the people that is waiting at the grassroots level. So what should you do right now in the process of expectation as we wait for the official signature to the concluding of with the ICJ's conditions? We urge you all to stay calm, stay informed, and also stay united with everyone. They do not engage in rumor mongering, avoid spreading some other news that could contaminate the ecosystem. Remain connected to the platforms that are information disseminators, and all important information will be relayed through our proper communication channels. Stay also in the place of prayer and the place of patience. These processes are spiritual as much as they are administrative. So let us align ourselves in that concept with hope, with trust, with confidence, with belief. Be prepared also, because once the signing is concluded and the IMF or the World Bank supervisory team lands in the country, disbursement would follow shortly after that as scheduled. Avoid panic also. Ensure that panic is not in your label. Do not take any steps based on fear. Don't. Fear is a crippler. The process is still very active and on track. So, my dear brothers and sisters in this humanitarian journey and on this platform, the final dot is about to be placed. The long anticipated moment is just ahead of us. But like every worthwhile journey, the last few steps often comes with a test of faith. We deeply appreciate your resilience, your joy, your faith, your loyalty throughout this entire challenging journey. You have stood firm despite the doubts, despite the criticisms, despite the long silence from certain quarters. You deserve an answer, of course, and you deserve a successful outcome. We are confident that by the grace of God, this June shall not pass us by. Amen. Share this message also within your groups, within your clusters, your cooperatives, and your platforms, so that the truth can drown out the noise and also bring clarity to many hearts. We remain so committed, hopeful, and active behind the scenes. We are pushing the prayers until this promise becomes a testimony for all of us and for you and your households. God bless you. We're drawing the curtain for this commentary right now to come your way again, possibly before nightfall. Until then, this is Princess Seed Channel. In case you're new, do subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss out on vital, important update. When we share one, you also have one. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very lovely day ahead of you. And bye for now.